Hey guys, if you're here, glad you could be here. John is just getting the camera set up here. It always takes a second because what is it? Which one is it? Instagram has to have a separate camera. So there we are. Now we got it all. All right, welcome. Glad you could be here. Christy, cut that part out when you post it. All right. Glad you could be here. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. First time joining us. Welcome. If you're not, if you're a regular, you know what's going to happen. I'm going to talk for 24 minutes on a topic, good topic actually. Josh, my IT guy, got mad at me when I told him what it was. So we're going to talk for 24 minutes, then we're going to answer questions. So if you have any health questions at all, please feel free to type it in whatever platform you're on. John, my producer, is going to read me the questions. Then we're going to do another 24 minutes, and then I'll answer more questions again. So this is an amazing opportunity for you to have health questions answered that you're probably not going to know who to ask or much less get an answer. So this is a great opportunity. Type in any health question you have. Please share this right now with your group because we want as many people watching, of course, as we can. So I am ready to start, John, whenever you are. All right, let's get a little, we got a big clock behind me there, so I got to make sure I got it right on time. So here we go. Ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. I am glad you're with me today. We're going to talk today about things that you're doing with food preparation, even food you're eating, that is so dangerous. And I was talking to my IT guy beforehand, and I mentioned one of the topics, and he got a little mad at me. So we're gonna talk about that today. But you need to know these things. These are things that you're doing with your food that can get you sick, and you never thought about it before. And then we're gonna talk about some food hacks as well, other things you can do too. So when I walk past a barbecue joint, I love the smell. Not gonna lie to you. And I take a good whiff, and I said, that smells so good. But I know what's going on and why it smells like that. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But there are things you're doing, like even if you have hash browns in the morning for breakfast, there's a chemical that's produced when you create those hash browns that is carcinogenic. Sometimes there's bugs. You hear about these food recalls. There are things that you can do to keep yourself healthy on many different levels. So let's start out with the barbecue one. This is the one you're going to get mad at me for. If you char the meat, if you grill your meat, you grill the meat, you get those grill marks on it. It tastes so good. In fact, one of the hamburger joints, that's their whole marketing tool. We flame grill our burgers. Those grill marks are called heterocyclic amines. Now, heterocyclic amines are known carcinogens, and it's created when meat is heated at a very high temperature. It's kind of a barbecue bummer, for lack of a better word. It can increase your risk of breast, lung, stomach, pancreatic, and prostate cancers. So that's the grill marks. But when you walk past and it smells so good, that smell is called heterocyclic amines. And the grill marks are heterocyclic amines. The smell is polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. Polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons are also carcinogenic. So if you like your barbecue and you like to grill out, understand you're getting a double whammy with that. Plus you're eating the meats. So let's talk about a fix for that. What do we do to make it right? I don't recommend eating meat. I haven't had meat in 39 years. I'm not asking you to do that. But if you're going to eat meat, 2 rules. Number 1, I want you to do organic only. Because when I was a kid, you didn't have to worry about steroids, chemicals, hormones, antibiotics, pesticides, genetically modified food, glyphosate. It was a different world. And now you do. So if you're going to do meat, at least go back to the kind of meat I would say that your grandmother would have eaten. And the only thing on the market right now would be organic, unless you go out and kill your own in the forest. But according to the American Institute for Cancer Research, they found that if you marinate the meat, it can lower the heterocyclic amines as much as 99%. So if you're going to do it, Kansas State University found that marinating steaks lowered heterocyclic amines by 87%. Rosemary marinade seems to be the best. Rosemary is the herb. Now, if you come to my offices, specifically the one in Marietta, I remember years ago, my patients, Mark and Vicky, they planted 3 little rosemary bushes outside my office. Now you can't even see the front of my office unless we trim them. The rosemary bushes are so big. So if you come to my office, please feel free to clip as much rosemary as you want. That's going to save me some gardening costs. And take it with you, and you can make a marinade. The way you want to make the marinade is you can do rosemary and put it in apple cider vinegar would be the best choice. And then if you marinate the meat, you're going to reduce those heterocyclic amines dramatically. Now, there are tests that found that ginger root, rosemary, and turmeric, they're very high in antioxidants, really reduce the heterocyclic amines. Even when you cook in at high temperature, rosemary is going to be the best. If you're going to cook, I want you to use oils that are safe. A couple of weeks ago, I did a show on how dangerous Vegetable oils are. Seed oils. Those are dangerous. Coconut oil or avocado oil are the best ones to cook with. So if you're going to cook with a fat, that's what you want to use. They're loaded in monounsaturated fats, and they have a high, what's called a smoke point. A smoke point is when the oil starts to smoke. And when it starts to smoke, it changes its molecular structure and becomes toxic. So you only want to cook with extra virgin organic coconut oil and or extra virgin organic avocado oil. Olive oil, if you're going to saute at a low temperature, probably okay. But I do not want you using soybean oil, cottonseed oil, safflower oil, canola oils. Those are toxic, polyunsaturated, omega-6 fatty acids that have been altered when they're produced. So if I'm going to eat sunflower seeds, okay. Sunflower oil, not okay, because of the way they have to use high heat and chemicals to extract the oils out. So these are some mistakes that you're making when you cook. Just be careful. I wish you wouldn't grill your meats. I wish you wouldn't create the heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. But if you're going to, at least do organic and at least marinate it with rosemary or ginger or turmeric, and that works really well. So I always give you an out. I never yell at you for anything. I was going to give you an option for it too. 2011 study, Environmental Health, found that more than 95% of preschool children ingested potentially damaging levels of something called acrylamides. Acrylamides, a naturally occurring compound found in starchy foods that are cooked above 250 degrees Fahrenheit. What would be an acrylamide? How about French fries? If you're going to make a French fry, that crispiness is called an acrylamide. It's a known carcinogen. International Agency for Research on Cancer classified acrylamide as a probable human carcinogen, and scientists found a link between chronic dietary exposure to acrylamide and damaged nerve cells in the brain. I searched the internet to find out what topics you guys want me to talk about. And a topic that comes up constantly among all age groups, brain function, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. I hear it all the time. And if we have acrylamides and we're serving it to people that are high risk, even people with traumatic brain injuries, I do analysis on patients with traumatic brain injuries, and I recommend dietary changes. Because one thing we do with traumatic brain injury, it's pretty easy to diagnose. We can do an MRI. We can do it by symptoms. We can do a neurologist, can do even a Zoom call with you and say, yes, you have a traumatic brain injury. Nobody's talking about what to do about it. And so I actually do a nutrition workup on my traumatic brain injury patients, and other companies will send me their traumatic brain injury cases to say, Dr. Joe, what do we do for this case? And so acrylamides can really increase damage to the brain cells and promote neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. What breaks my heart is if you've ever been to a senior housing facility and they're serving these people burgers with grill marks on them, French fries, hash browns, acrylamides, heterocyclic amines, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, and their brains are already compromised. Why would you want to do that? It hurts me because I'm going to be a senior someday. Someday. Maybe sooner than later. And somebody's going to have to take care of me. I hope not. I hope I'm going to take care of myself forever. But if it comes to that point, I'm worried. So it scares me. So how do we fix that? You don't have to write off your potatoes quite yet. Before cooking them, soak the raw sliced potatoes in water for about 2 hours, and that's going to slash your acrylamides by about 50%. Now, you shouldn't be eating French fries, but if you're going to eat French fries, at least soak them for 2 hours. If you do a 30-second rinse, we'll lower the acrylamides by even 20%. So if you're in a rush, that works too. Whatever you do, don't store raw potatoes in your refrigerator. That actually encourages the production of acrylamides when you cook them. So potatoes need to be stored outside the refrigerator. Okay, that's just a little fun fact for you there. So another tip you can do is if you make your potatoes, soak them for 2 hours. That's going to reduce the acrylamides, especially if you heat it above 250 degrees, which is how you cook them. And then if you put them in a refrigerator overnight and then eat them the next day, you create something called a resistant starch. It's called resistant starch type 3, if you want to know specifically. And what happens is it changes the molecular structure of the potato, so you absorb about 40 to 50% less carbohydrates. And what's not absorbed as a carbohydrate makes its way through your small intestine into your large intestine, where it feeds the good bacteria. that becomes a resistant starch. And better yet, bake your French fries. Instead of heating them in those bad oils, those corn oils, those soy oils, those canola oils, if you spray it with, let's say, an avocado oil or coconut oil and then bake it, you're going to come out a lot better. But again, anything above 250 degrees Fahrenheit is when the acrylamides form. So I'd rather you don't do that, but if you are going to do it, that's the trick. How many people like toast in the morning? I do. If you toast your bread until it's very dark, it raises the acrylamide levels. Again, it's that crunchy, it's the burn part, that's the acrylamide. In fact, many processed foods like crackers and cookies contain acrylamides because the food industry created these high-carb snacks at very high temperatures. So we're thinking French fries, we're thinking toast, but how about crackers? Can also cause problems as well, depending on the type of oil they use, and usually we use the cheaper oils in the crackers, and that's not good either. So, how do we fix it? Don't burn your toast. Just get it to the point where it's just a little crispy, and better yet, that's a good thing. Or if you bake your own breads, better still, because you have control of what goes in it. There was a Danish study that found adding rosemary, there it is again, to your dough can lower your acrylamides by about 60%. So if you make your own bread, add rosemary, and folks, you can grow rosemary. Rosemary, as I said, grows like a weed. So if you have a little place, even in a pot, get some rosemary, start growing it. It grows very easily. Use it every chance you can. And it tastes good with potatoes too, if nothing else. Another rule about potatoes or anything that grows underground. If it grows underground, I want you to do organic because it can absorb chemicals, pesticides, heavy metals when it's growing underground. So potatoes, onions, carrots, parsnips, if you eat them, always do organic. That's a rule I don't want you to break. Organic only. It was interesting. I was at a store called Sprouts. I know this show goes all over the world, but I was at Sprouts the other day, and I was looking at they have the fruit and vegetable section, and I was talking to the person I was with, and a lady turns around, and she says, "Are you Dr. Joe?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "I knew that voice. I know that." Nobody knows what I look like, of course, if I'm on radio. And she starts talking about organic foods, and she says, "I have kids, and you totally changed my life because I was feeding my kids all this stuff, and the kid had ADD, he wasn't functioning properly, and you just listening to your shows, my children now are able to focus. They're in regular classrooms again." And she says, "I never thought I'd get to meet you and say thank you." That's really cool. I kind of got a little thrill out of that. But it's so important you take care of yourself, especially your children, because the food is different today than it was even 20 and 30 years ago. So little tips like this can make a huge difference not only in your health, but in your child's development. Their brain is still growing, so is yours, but you want to give them every chance you can, and that's really important. We talked about acrylamides. I want to talk about arsenic now. Food and Drug Administration Consumer Reports found worrisome levels of carcinogenic arsenic in rice and rice-based products. Now, rice absorbs arsenic naturally from the soil. So it's all going to have some arsenic in it. Hard to break the news to you. The safest is going to be an organic California rice. That has the lowest levels of arsenic. But if we get from other countries especially, many times they'll fertilize, they'll use chicken droppings as fertilizer for their rice. Why would they do that? Well, they have chicken droppings. What are you going to do with it? Just throw it in a rice patty. But some countries and some companies will actually feed the chickens arsenic. Arsenic is a heavy metal that chicken weighs more. Well, so when the chicken goes to the bathroom, they get rid of the arsenic, and then it's used as a fertilizer, and that can be a problem. So organic California rice is going to be your best bet. So the Environmental Working Group, it's a consumer advocacy group, suggests rinsing your brown rice before you cook it. And what that's going to do is lower your arsenic levels by 30 to 40%. This doesn't work for white rice. Now, it's kind of funny because you would think, what's the healthiest form of rice? Brown rice, right? I mean, that's the most natural. It's less processed. Rice is the exception because the arsenic in the brown rice is higher than it is in the white rice. So organic white rice, I hate to say that it's a processed food, is going to be better than the brown rice. For babies, don't feed them rice right away. Consider like orange vegetables as their first food, like sweet potatoes or pumpkin or something like that, and not giving them rice as their first food because of the high risk of arsenic. And what do? We feed our kids rice. It's something that we're just taught. Other things, if you're just tuning in, folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. We're talking today about food preparation mistakes that you're making, and I'm telling you how to fix a lot of them. If you like picnics, if you like leftovers, if you like to take your lunch with you, deviled eggs, which I don't eat eggs, macaroni, potato salad, if you allow these to stay out for too long, you can cause some really nasty problems. Now, I don't know if I have to tell you this, but I do. Two main problems with foodborne illnesses. They're not cooked at not a high enough temperature, and that can leave the food unsafe. And you don't want to leave your food out any longer than 2 hours. So what's our fix for that? Scrub your fruits and vegetables that you use in salad thoroughly before cutting them. The reason is the bugs, the germs, the bacteria, the parasites, whatever it is, can be on the skins. So if you scrub them really well, that reduces the risk of having them there. And also, it's better for you. If you're going to do deviled eggs or any type of egg salad, pack it in ice. I don't know if I have to tell you that, but you should. You probably don't want to get, potato salad and egg salad sandwiches from a gas station. It's like gas station sushi, probably not the best choice if you're going to do that. But you got to keep things clean. And if you do organic, you're going to have less of that as well. So once again, anything that grows underground, organic only. Scrub it really well. I have a brush. Get a vegetable brush and get in there and scrub those vegetables. It's okay to eat the skin. When I make potatoes, when I make carrots, I have no problem eating the skin because it's organic and I know I've cleaned it really well. So we're just talking about food hacks today. According to recent analysis, 87% of supermarket meat contains antibiotic-resistant bacteria, hard-to-kill germs, and they can be fatal. Let me say that number again. 87% of grocery store meat have these antibiotic-resistant bacteria on them. Now, I don't eat meat. I don't have to worry about this. But if you're going to eat meat, store it on the lowest rack in your refrigerator. Use separate cutting boards for your meats and your vegetables. That was the whole point when Moses came up with kosher, separating the dairy from the blood from the dairy and then the other from the fruits and the vegetables. So you definitely want to use different cutting boards. I don't recommend plastic cutting boards. And the reason is every time you cut into it, a little bit of plastic releases. If you listened to my show last week, 2 weeks ago, we talked about plastics and how it's getting into the body and it's lowering testosterone levels. It's affecting hormone levels. It's lowering sperm counts. Every generation, sperm drops about 50%, sperm count. So my father had 50% less than his father. I have 50% less than my father. And if I had a baby boy, he'd have 50% less than me. That's a serious issue because it's not sustainable. If this continues, we as a society can't sustain ourselves because of the low sperm count. When I first got in practice, we never had an issue with couples having babies, and now it's an issue. There's a whole cottage industry out there on helping couples have babies. And a lot of it has to do with these chemicals, these plastic chemicals that you're exposing yourself to, men and women, that's altering your hormones. Now, we did a show on that. I'm not going to go into that too deep today. Now, again, I don't eat meat. If you're going to eat meat, make sure you wash it very well. Use a food thermometer. That's going to help combat food infections as well. Now, all meat should be treated as if it has foodborne contaminants on it. The good news is that organic meats have less. So it's another reason to do organic meats. Now, I choose not to eat meat. I know I've said that before. But knowing what I know, that's the best route. But most people, I always tell them, negotiate anything. If you're going to do meats, do organic only. Marinate them with rosemary and apple cider vinegar so you kill off those heterocyclic amines when you cook it. Wash the meats. Make sure it's fresh. Make sure it's organic. So these are little food hacks that, again, I wouldn't worry about in my life, but I want you to worry about in your life. So if you're new to the show, what I do on this show is I try to teach you ways to get well and stay well. I try to teach you things about nutrition, about structural issues, about digestive issues that you can manage in your own life. Now, when it comes to pain management, there are things that you can do, of course, nutritionally, but many times you need intervention. You need outside help. So if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, headaches, blurred vision, sciatica, the most effective, least expensive treatment for most of those conditions is going to be chiropractic care. Chiropractic care, most effective, least expensive treatment. Why wouldn't you use the most effective, least expensive treatment for anything? fixing my air conditioner. I want the most effective, least expensive. For some reason, we don't think like that with our own bodies. Sometimes we go right to the end game. Many times you don't need surgery. Many times you don't need medication. If you do, take it, absolutely. But let's try to get to the cause and not just treat the symptoms. We have a machine in our office called an acoustic wave therapy machine. It sends really, really fast impulses into the joint for knees, shoulders, hips, breaks up scar tissue, increases circulation, and recruits stem cells into the area. I have had countless people being told, you need surgery, you need a joint replacement, and after just about 6 treatments with acoustic wave, they don't need the surgery anymore. They don't need the injections anymore. So there are so many alternative treatments you don't even know exist. And that's why I want to be your doctor. If you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Make an appointment to come see us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. You can book right online. We can get you in this week. We always have appointments open for new patients. We accept most insurance companies, car accidents, sports injuries. If you have pain, something's wrong. If you have high blood pressure, if you have high cholesterol, something's wrong. Let's try to get to the cause. Normally, the first visit for a chiropractic visit with us is $940. We've reduced that to $299. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, and a complete nutrition evaluation on your follow-up visit. The x-rays alone are going to cost you more than that anywhere else. Why do we do this? We do this to determine what's going to be the best course of treatment. Are we going to be the best course of treatment for you? Maybe you need an orthopedist. Maybe you need a neurologist. Maybe you need some injections. Maybe you need medical pain management. I don't know. Let's find out what's going to be the best for you. So go to my website. You can do it right now, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Book your appointment. We'll get you set up as soon as possible. That's for you, your friends, your family, and your children. If children start out healthy, they usually end up healthy. Something simple. I had a friend of mine whose child was a little hyperactive. I got him on B-complex. Something as simple as methylated B12. And we saw a dramatic difference. He wasn't totally cured, but a dramatic difference in his ability to focus. It was a supplement that cost pennies a day. Why wouldn't we do that? So if you want to make an appointment, nutrition, chiropractic, digestive issues, brain issues, drjoe.com. Again, I want to be your doctor. When you're on the website, if you have any health questions, you could send me your questions through the website, drjoe.com. I'm happy to answer your questions for you. So just drjoe.com, a little bot pops up, says, hey, want to chat? Happy to answer your questions. The supplements we're going to talk about that are going to help you, the minimum supplements everybody should take, by the way, are going to be Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're 2 powders. They taste great. I mix them with water. You can use coconut milk, almond milk, throw a frozen banana in there, blend it up. That you got to get it in your body every day. Minimum supplements every day. And they're on the website, drjoe.com. B-complex. We pee our B vitamins out every day. Got to replace them. B-complex, drjoe.com. If you have high blood pressure, nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up the blood vessels and increases circulation. We just hired somebody new in my office, and she heard me do a podcast the other day. And she said, can I try this nitric oxide? I said, sure. So I gave her some, and I asked her, I said, how'd it do? She goes, my blood pressure dropped like 15 points in 20 minutes. And then she said what everybody else says. Why didn't somebody tell me about this sooner? I said, I don't know. Now you know. So if you have questions about your health, drjoe.com. I really do want to be your doctor. I want to help get you to the cause of the problems. We even have a protocol for men with ED. And if you have ED, gentlemen, erectile dysfunction, just type ED in the search bar. A little quiz will come up. Fill out the quiz. It'll come to my inbox. Nobody else is going to see it. And I'll send you a protocol that might work for you. Happy to do that for you. It's my gift to you. So drjoe.com. We really want to get to the cause of your problems. Follow me on social media. We post every single day. Every day you're going to get at least a 1-minute tip. And if you follow us on YouTube, you're going to get the long versions of these lectures. And it's incredible information. We have doctors, insurance companies, hospitals, nurses all the time watching and learning. So why wouldn't you want access to the things that the doctors are listening to? So drjoe.com is a great source of information. I realize I got to take a break real soon. When we come back, I'm going to teach you some other health cooking hacks that you can do to incorporate healthy food into your life and little tips to get the bad stuff out. So many times when it comes to nutrition, it's not only taking good stuff in, it's just getting the bad stuff out. Getting the bad stuff out is the hard part. But I'll teach you some of those things as well. So follow me on social media. It's just Dr. Joe Esposito. Supplements are going to be there. The website's there. We have over 4,000 hours of content on the website. Search the website. Chances are we've done a podcast for you. But again, drjoe.com. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. You approve?
I approve. I'm hungry. But no, I definitely, I didn't know why. I knew about the charred grill. Someone told me that before, like, hey, it's not good for you.
Right. Now you know why. Josh is not my friend. John, you have questions for me?
What are the healthiest ways to cook potatoes?
Boil them is going to be the best, actually. Make sure they're organic. Scrub the outsides. Leave the skin on. Boil them. Put them in a refrigerator overnight. Eat them the next day. That's going to be everything you could possibly do to make it the best potato you can. And sweet potatoes really aren't potatoes, but they're even better for you still. What else you got?
Is white rice and black beans a good choice?
Yes, absolutely. Again, some of the healthiest food is not the fancy food that we eat. It's the food of the poor people. And growing up very poor, I'm half Italian, half German. I ate Italian poor food, German poor food. But rice and beans are great. Take the rice, organic California, soak it, wash it, rinse it a few times. That'll get off some more of that arsenic. And then if you boil it, put it in the refrigerator overnight, and then warm it up the next day, you're going to have the resistant starch from the rice. You're going to absorb about 40 to 50% less calories. So better still. What else you got?
Is garlic salt or garlic powder a better choice?
Garlic powder. That's an easy one. Yes, garlic's great. Stinks, but it's good. What else?
Are cooked carrots healthier than raw carrots?
Pro and con on that. The raw carrots have certain nutrients in them, but the cell wall of the carrot is cellulose. You need to chew it to release the nutrients from it. We don't have an enzyme called cellulase to break down cellulose, and so we can't digest the carrot necessarily unless we smash it up first. Cooking it, you heat up the cell, the water in the cell expands and bursts the cell open, breaking down the cellulose, releasing some nutrients, but the heat then kills some of the nutrients as well. So I'd say mix it up a little bit. Have a little bit of both. Make sure they're organic. What you got?
What are your thoughts on moringa fruit?
Great. It's good stuff. Good supplement. It's not an end-all be-all. Nothing's a cure-all, but it's good. What else?
That is all unless our audience has something.
All right, audience. Anybody else? Anybody, a live audience? Any questions? No? We're good? Mm-hmm.
That is all.
All right. We're ready to part 2. All right. I got so much to cover, and I only got 23 minutes. Let me see what I want to cover. All right. I think I'm ready. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito. If you just joined us, welcome. If you stayed with us, I'm glad you did. As always, we're trying to give you nonstop information on things that you can do to get well and stay well. So today, what we're talking about, earlier we talked about food prep mistakes that you're making. If you missed that, all our shows, by the way, are stored on our website, drjoe.com. So if you go to drjoe.com, it has radio shows and podcasts. If you're a podcast junkie, make sure you go to your podcast service and just type in Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. And we have all our shows and podcasts archived there as well. So you can scroll down and see what you missed. Or if you want to send me a question through the website, drjoe.com, happy to answer your questions for you as well. I'm giving you as much information in every possible form that I can think of. Written, oral, video, audio, podcasts. It's on the website. I want you to get this information. I've spent 40 years, well, more than 45 years studying all this. You're not going to get it all on the first visit. I get that. But that's why we have access to that whenever you need it. So, cooking meals at home, so important. In fact, many times with my schedule, I get invited out to dinners constantly. And it's really to the point where I just want to go home and make a home-cooked meal. And I love cooking, by the way. So my weekends, many times I do that. But home-cooked meals, instead of ordering out, you're going to save a ton of money. You're going to avoid the saturated fat, the trans fats, the sugars, the salts. You can control the ingredients that are in there. And again, it's a whole lot cheaper. So we're going to talk about different things that you can do now when you're making these home-cooked meals to save money, probably add many years to your life, and you're going to feel so much better doing it. Now, one of the things that came out a while ago, and I first kind of balked at it, but it wasn't bad, is using gluten-free, like pasta, let's say. So if you're going to do a pasta, you can do a lentil pasta, which doesn't taste quite like wheat, but it's so much better for you. It's a better choice. Even rice noodles, although they do spike the sugar, can still be better than the wheat. I'm not a fan of wheat for several reasons. Number one, it has a protein called gluten. Now, gluten is made of gliadin and glutenin. That's what's in the flour. When you cook it, it creates gluten. And gluten is really hard to digest. We don't have the enzymes to break down gluten properly. And some people are so sensitive to it, it can actually kill them. People with celiac disease, even Crohn's disease, irritable bowel syndrome. So I want you to do this. I want you to try an experiment for me. I want you to cut out the gluten, all gluten, that's wheat, barley, rye, for 2 weeks. You know what? Do it for 1 week. Do it for 1 week and see how you feel. Then go back to eating gluten, breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas. See how you feel. Simple test. You decide what to do at the end. Everyone I've ever asked to do this who are honest say the same thing. I feel so much better when I don't eat gluten. So you can do, again, lentil pasta would be a better choice. Organic soy pasta would be okay. You can do rice pastas. They taste great. You're going to see such a change when you just cut out the gluten. Now, you can do gluten-free breads, which really don't taste that good. But the best kind of bread, because I know somebody's going to ask me, the best kind of bread is going to be Ezekiel bread or sprouted bread. Now, Kroger has a sprouted version that's cheaper than the Ezekiel brand, and it tastes fine. So if you're going to do bread, sprouted bread is going to be your best choice. And it does have wheat in it, but when it's sprouted, it breaks down to gluten. So most people that have gluten sensitivity can do Ezekiel. But again, you got to try that for yourself. So that's a real simple health hack that you can do that's going to make you feel a lot better. A lot less bloating, a lot less gas. You'll gain weight less. It tastes great. There's no reason not to do it. Another trick that I do is I try to have something raw at every meal. When I go out, I'll always get a lot of lettuce. I'll get different things to make salads. I try to have at least one salad a day. Sometimes, rarely, that doesn't happen. I didn't get to the store in time. I ate up all the salad that I liked it so much. I ate it all. And I'm in a rush, and I got to run somewhere, and I got to go to work, and I got to get a quick meal. So that's when I start to rely on frozen vegetables. And one of my favorite things, you could take either peas, little English peas, or broccoli, and you could just boil it. And then I add a little bit of extra virgin organic olive oil, air-dried sea salt or Celtic salt. I don't want to use table salt. A little bit of pepper, garlic if I'm not going to be around people, and then some either oregano or Italian seasoning, and I just mix it up like that. And so it's basically oil, salt, pepper, and oregano, and a little bit of olive oil, and I eat that. And it tastes great. And it's so filling, and it's high in fiber, and it's high in nutrients, and it's really cheap. You can buy a frozen bag of peas for about $2 or $3, organic. Buy the cheap ones for $1. If organic is not on your list, $1 and a quarter maybe for a bag of peas. A little bit of oil, extra virgin organic olive oil. Don't use those seed oils, the corn oil, the soybean oil, the cottonseed oil, the canola oils. Those are bad. And a little bit of air-dried sea salt, and you've got an amazing meal. It'll fill you up. It's quick. It's easy. You don't stink up the kitchen cooking it. And it travels really well because it doesn't have to be refrigerated. I mean, eventually it would. But, if you make it at breakfast and bring it at lunch, that's fine. So frozen vegetables is going to save you preparation time. They have a lot of nutrients in them. Try to do organic if you can. Even non-organic frozen vegetables are still better than ordering a hamburger and French fries and a diet soda. So why wouldn't you do that? It's cheaper, it's easier, it's better for you. You don't have to go out and get it. If you get a delivery system, bring it to you, got to pay a tip. There's no downside to doing this. It's going to be warm, make sure you store it in glass, not plastic. Because plastic, if you put heat around plastic, it can release those chemicals, those endocrine-disrupting chemicals from the plastic in. Don't microwave it. I don't want you using a microwave. If you do use a microwave, never, ever, under any circumstances, penalty of death, use plastic. Because the plastic will leach into your food. And don't even cover it with plastic. The plastic's going to leach into the food. And those are endocrine-disrupting hormones that can really mess with your hormones. So I don't like using a microwave ever, but if you are going to use it, do that. If you like oatmeal, and oatmeal is a quick, easy meal, I understand that. The best kind of oatmeal is going to be organic steel cut. The old-fashioned, what they do is they take the steel cut, they steam it, and then they roll it out. That's why it's called rolled oats. That's why it's called rolled oats. So it's rolled out, makes it flat, but that is absorbed just like eating bread. It's so high in sugar, spikes your insulin levels. So I would rather you do steel-cut oats. Now, when you cook it, if you want to do a little treat, instead of cooking it with water, cook it with a plant milk, coconut milk, almond milk. It's going to make it richer, thicker, and creamier. It's going to taste better. The downside is you have to cook steel-cut oats for about 10 minutes as opposed to instant oats, which you cook almost instantly. But instant oats, especially instant ones, not even the old-fashioned, but the instant, that's just like eating sugar because it's all broken down. The fiber's broken down, gets absorbed. The steel cut's a better choice. You can also do something called groats, which is the whole oat. I don't like them. They take a real long time to cook. They're chewy. Steel cut's going to be your best choice. That's quick. It's easy. You can put it in a thermos if you want to. Take it to work with you. But if you cook it instead of with water with a plant-based milk, it adds a whole nother level to it. Now, you can add cinnamon to it. Cinnamon stabilizes your blood sugar, so you don't have those spikes throughout the day. You don't eat it, you get a rush and then a crash. So cinnamon is amazing. Cinnamon is so good for stabilizing the blood sugar. So if you could take oats, not using cow's milk, because that's saturated fats, many times chemicals and steroids, plant-based milk, steel-cut oats, a little bit of cinnamon, you got a meal. Throw some raisins in there, organic raisins if you want to get crazy. You can throw some walnuts in there, some almonds in there if you want to. Really inexpensive, really tasty, and good for you, good for the environment. There's no downside to doing this. I'm amazed if I'm at a diner, if I'm at a hotel or something like that, and they have oatmeal on the menu, and they charge you $8 for it, $10 for it. Oatmeal is so inexpensive. Steel cut. Make it, throw it in a thermos. It's great. I love my thermos. I make a lot of soup, so I'll make soup a lot in winter, and I'll bring soup and a salad for lunch, and I'll just sit at my desk and eat it. I save so much money, don't have to travel. I'm here if the patients need me. Why wouldn't you do things like that? We talked about cooking grains before. I'm going to repeat this again, not that I'm being repetitious, but some people tune in and out at different times, and I want to make sure everything is covered. If you cook up grains, quinoa is actually one of the better grains you can do. Sorghum is another one. Cook it up and then put it in the refrigerator overnight. And then it's organic, of course. And then eat it the next day. You create what's called a resistant starch. And it's good for your colon because it's prebiotics. It feeds the bacteria in your colon. Very inexpensive. And you can season it any way you want to. You want to make it sweet. You want to make it savory. If you want to boil it with vegan bouillon, you can boil it with vegan bouillon cubes. And now you have a meal in itself. I don't know if it's still around. Rice-A-Roni, I'm not sure if that's still a thing. But I remember being a kid, and rice-a-roni was the greatest thing in the world, man. It was rice, and it had seasoning on it, and you could make a meal out of it. Well, you can make your own version of that by just taking some vegan bouillon cubes, cook up some sorghum or some quinoa, and then add whatever seasonings you like. You want to add garlic, you want to make it Italian. If you add garlic, you want to make it Asian, you could add some ginger to it, and now you've got a whole meal. And again, if you cook it, you put it in the refrigerator overnight, it's a prebiotic, and it's going to be a resistant starch, and that's actually good for you. And you're going to absorb a lot less carbohydrates from it. So if you're just tuning in, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito, and what we're talking about today are tips that you can do when preparing your food to get better bang for your buck. Because so many of us are spending so much money on fast food. When I was young, we went out to dinner once a year. My grandfather took us to a German restaurant on his birthday, and he paid. And that was the only time I went to a restaurant as a child. When I went away to school, I cooked everything. I remember I had roommates. We never met before. We met essentially about a week before we went to college. And we were roommates. And they were like, where did you learn how to cook? I'm making chicken soups, and I'm making Italian dishes, pestos. And they're like, how did you learn how to cook? I said, well, we cooked every meal at home. What did you guys do? And we were really poor. My father was disabled, and so we were very poor. And so they had a little more leniency when it came out to going out to dinner. But that was 45 years ago. And now it's a thing. We have these food delivery services. And you can go on and you can have food delivered. And I'm amazed at the markup that there is. And when I talk to the Gen Zers, it's just the cost of living. They don't even think about the fact I have to have a delivery service for $12 and then a tip. And they don't even think about that. It's like, it's just the cost of the meal. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I can't fathom that. The only time I'll ever use a food service delivery is if they give me like a 60% off coupon or something. And then I might break even, picking it up myself. So I really want you to try to stay away from the restaurants if you can and start making your own meals. If you don't know what to eat, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com, and type in, so what can I eat, in the search bar. And it's about 45 minutes. And I was in a studio one day, and I just talked about breakfast, lunches, dinner, snacks, fast food, raising kids, cleaning out your pantry, Christmas. Laid it all out real simple. And we have over 4,000 hours of content on the website. And if you want access to all of it, no charge for you. People tell me all the time, why don't you charge for this, Joe? This is every show you do is life-saving information. Why don't you charge people for it? I don't charge you for it because I want to get this information to you because I want you to have it. I've seen too many people suffer and die. This week alone, I had friends of mine, 2 friends had 2 of their friends die. And it breaks my heart because so many of the things that we get sick from and die from, you have control over. Not everything. We're all going to die. But I want to live the best I can for as long as I can. And it's a whole lot less expensive being healthy than is being sick. And so why wouldn't you want to be healthy? I mean, simple things like nitric oxide as a supplement to open up your blood vessels, increases circulation to your heart, your lungs, your brain, can lower blood pressure in many cases, opens up nerve supply for romance. Keep it clean. It's a family show. But many times men are taking little blue pills and they're getting injections. And that the reason sometimes 50% of the time they don't work is they're low in nitric oxide. If I give you a nitric oxide supplement, many times that solves the problem. And even if you're healthy, if you take a nitric oxide, two nitric oxide supplements before romance, life changes, guys, for the better. Believe me. And so it's something you want to consider as a supplement. It's very inexpensive compared to everything else. The minimum supplements everybody should take. What's your starting point? Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're 2 powders. They taste great. I can't imagine starting a day without it. I just add a scoop of each. I shake it up with some water and drink it first thing in the morning. Now, you can use coconut milk, almond milk, throw a frozen banana in there, make it a little thicker, add some cinnamon if you want to get crazy. But you got to get these supplements in your body every day. It's the minimum supplements everybody needs every day. And they're on my website, drjoe.com. It's in the store section. Go to the website, click on the store. And we'll ship them the next day, same day or next day, as long as it's a business day. And it's exponentially less expensive than a fancy cup of coffee. When I say exponentially, like a fraction of the cost of a fancy cup of coffee. And it's good for you as opposed to having negative side effects. Coffee is one of the foods that's sprayed with more chemicals than just about any other food on the market. So if you're going to drink coffee, I recommend organic only. Now, the fancy coffee shops usually don't have organic coffee, do they? And it's expensive. So why not just get your own organic coffee? Cook it at home. Brew it up at home. Doesn't make any sense to me why we spend so much money out. We're sicker than we've ever been. We're spending more money than we've ever spent on health care. And our life expectancy is shorter than it was the generation before us. What we're doing isn't working. So why not make these little tiny changes? Have a bag of frozen peas for lunch and season it up as opposed to going out for junk food. What if we just drank water? What if we took supplements? What if we took Super Greens Essential Source every day? What if we took vitamin D every day? It has over 300 different functions in the body. It's the cheapest insurance policy you'll ever buy. You pee out your B vitamins every day. Why don't you take a B vitamin every day? And even if you took all the supplements I talk about, it's still cheaper than a fancy cup of coffee. I can't make it any easier for you, folks. So if you want to get the supplements we talk about, or look at the other ones. We have women's hormone support, men's hormone support, adrenal support. We have so many different, I think we have 18 different supplements, and I take just about every one of them every day. And the reason I do is because I know the benefits of them. If you knew what I knew, you would do what I do. When I eat a cooked meal, I take a digestive enzyme. Why? Because at my age, my digestive enzymes aren't what they used to be. I want to boost up my digestive enzymes, help my digest my food, absorb my nutrients better. I know if I have pain, pain's a warning sign. It's telling me something's wrong. So I can either treat the symptoms of the pain or I can treat the cause. And that's what I like to do, and I think you should consider that as well. So if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, sciatica, folks, it's probably a pinched nerve. And the most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain is chiropractic care. In most cases. Not all, but most cases. So when you come to our office, we do an evaluation with you. Many times we take x-rays. We do an exam. We try to find out what's causing the problem. And if it's not a chiropractic case, we're going to say, you know what, Bob, this isn't a chiropractic case. Let me call my friend, the neurosurgeon, the orthopedic surgeon, the physical therapist, the physiatrist, the general practitioner. And let's co-manage your case to try to do everything we can to get to the cause of your problem and not just treat the symptom. I like doing that. I've been doing it for 40 years now. And I get more excited today than I was 40 years ago coming to work. Because every day, now let me change that. Every hour, we see people come in and miracles happen. And they say, Dr. Joe, why didn't I do this sooner? I've had headaches for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, numbness, sciatica. And that's just pain. 90% of your nerves don't even feel pain. Those are the nerves that control the organs. Your liver, your spleen, your heart, your lungs, your sex organs. So when you can unpinch the nerves and get the nerves working, many times it manages the pain, many times it opens up nerves to organs, and all the time it prevents the joints from wearing out or slows down that process. Because if a joint is out of alignment, it's going to wear out, and that's called arthritis. If you have osteoarthritis, you have bones out of place. That's a definitive statement. And what's the smartest thing to do logically? Put the bone back in place, right? Absolutely. So if you want to make an appointment to come see us, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. That's the Atlanta area. We can do remote consultations if we need to. I know this. People hear these things all over the world. And I want to be your doctor. I want to help get to the cause of your problems. So drjoe.com. If you have any questions, send them to me through the website. Happy to answer your questions. Follow me on social media. Just look up Dr. Joe Esposito. We post every single day. You're going to get so much information. 1-minute posts. Unless you follow us on YouTube, then you get the long version. But short versions, long versions, quick tips. I just did a post the other day. It's going to come out soon on how to make your own deodorant. It took 38 seconds. So it's not going to bombard you with a lot of information, but you're going to be able to manage it. drjoe.com. I can't imagine why you're not doing it. Follow us. If you don't like it, unfollow us. Now, if you go to my website, you can search the website. Chances are we've got something on there that you're going to like. And you can listen to it and then send me questions through the website. I want to be your doctor. And if you're a podcast junkie, go to your podcast service, type in Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. And we post at least 2 podcasts a week, usually more. So drjoe.com. So anyway, just tuning in. We're talking today about health hacks, food hacks that you can do to keep yourself healthy. Little changes that you can make. A simple thing you can do, and this refrigerates well, is you can roast up some root vegetables. Now, when I say root vegetables, carrots, onions, potatoes, those are the big 3, parsnips if you want to throw them in there. And what you do is get organic ones, scrub them really well, chop them up in little cubes, little coconut oil or avocado oil, those cook well, salt and pepper, put it in the oven. Roast it up, and then put it in the refrigerator. You can eat that warm, or you can eat it cold. And it's a really great, healthy, filling snack. And so it's really quick, it's really easy, it's really inexpensive. You can take the roasted vegetables, throw in some vegetable broth. Now you got vegetable soup. You puree the soup, you got creamy vegetable soup. So many different simple things that you can do that are going to save you so much money. And it's easy. If you like spinach is high in oxalates. So if you have a tendency to form kidney stones, you don't want to do a lot of spinach. But if you saute the spinach, again, you're going to saute low temperature, extra virgin olive oil is okay. Little garlic, saute that up, real easy to eat. Now, garlic is antibiotic, antiviral, and antifungal. My Italian grandmother didn't have those big words. What she said, Giuseppe, the garlic is good for you. That's it. Garlic was good for you. And now we know scientifically that grandma was right. And so antibiotic, antiviral, antifungal. If you eat garlic and you get bad breath, little trick you can do, eat some parsley. Parsley has chlorophyll in it that kind of neutralizes the stinky smell of the garlic. Pretty neat, huh? So that's a lot of fun. If you're worried about bad breath, and I have these in all my car, in all my office, and in all my suit jackets, cloves. Remember cloves? Right? You put them in orange, make them smell nice. Take the clove, break off the little tip. You can eat it if you want to, and put it in your mouth and just suck on it. Antibiotic, antiviral, and antifungal. And it has more antioxidants per ounce than blueberries. So you can suck on this clove. It'll give you fresh breath. And what I do is I put it between my cheek and gum and leave it there. Now, the other day I was teaching postgraduate. I was at a seminar, and I was one of the speakers, and there was about 1,900 doctors there from all over the world, and I was one of the guest speakers. And I forgot I had it in my mouth. I did a 2-hour presentation. When I was done, I pulled it down, sucked on it, and people came up to me and asked questions after the lecture, and I had nice fresh breath. And it's cloves. Everybody likes to smell cloves. It smells like Christmas. And it's so quick. It's so easy. Put maybe 20 or 30 cloves in a little bag. And if they start losing their flavor, throw them away. 20 or 30 cloves is probably going to cost you 5 cents. Throw them away, get some new ones. But I love this. Whenever I'm at events, like even at this event when I was speaking, one of the doctors said, "You smell like cloves. You just spoke for 2 hours without taking a sip of water." And I told the story to the doctors that were there. And so many of them sent me emails afterwards and said, "I got cloves in my office now because I smell nice when I'm close to my patients." So just little fun facts like this, it makes your life so much easier. And in fact, with garlic, there's 2 supplements we have on our website, and I don't talk about these much. It's called Dr. Joe's Seasonal Tonic and Dr. Joe's Wellness Booster. Now, Wellness Booster is Echinacea paudiarco olive leaf extract. It helps stimulate your immune system. And you could take that every day, especially throughout the winter, and especially if you're traveling. Now, if you do start getting sick, we have Dr. Joe's Seasonal Tonic. Now, Dr. Joe's Seasonal Tonic, ginger, horseradish, cayenne pepper, onion, and garlic, and we puree that in an apple cider vinegar. It tastes the way it sounds. It's a very strong salad dressing, for lack of a better thing to compare it to. But you take that. It says take once a day. Take it every hour. And I've had many, many people come back to me a day or 2 later and say, Doc, I'm usually sick for 6-7 days, and I'm feeling better after 2 days. It's pretty amazing. So anyway, if you have any questions, folks, I'm almost out of time. Send it to my website, drjoe.com. Happy to answer your questions for you. Follow me on social media, Dr. Joe Esposito. Instagram, podcasts, Dr. Joe for the health of it. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. We've gone viral many times with over 1 million views, so you're going to get a lot of fun information. Again, you won't get it until you get there, and then you're going to realize how much fun this is. And you're going to say what most people say. Why didn't I do this sooner? Why didn't I follow you sooner? Why didn't I take supplements sooner? Why didn't I come to see you sooner? And my answer is always, I don't know. I've been in the same place for 40 years. That's longevity. But I want to help get your nervous system working, your digestive system working, and your diet. We work with everything getting to the cause of ED, to pain, to digestive issues, to traumatic brain injuries. We always want to get to the cause of the problem and not just treat the symptom. Again, the website, drjoe.com. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Thanks for tuning in. I got more stuff to talk about. Always. All right, John, any questions for me on part 2?
Is osteoarthritis considered an autoimmune disease?
No, rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease. Osteoarthritis is mechanical. That means the bones are out of place rubbing up against each other. Now, if you have rheumatoid arthritis, it causes an inflammatory reaction, which causes the bones to move out of place, which causes them to wear out, which causes a mechanical reaction. So rheumatoid is the autoimmune disease. What you got?
What are the healthiest ways to make popcorn?
Organic popcorn, air popped. Spray it with your oil afterwards. You can get a spray bottle for that. You can get a little compression pump thing. You buy them and you pump it up. It sprays it. Extra virgin organic olive oil is going to work real well for that, or avocado oil. You can season it with air-dried sea salt, garlic if you want to. You could add dill to it if you want to add nice flavor to it as well, and that would work pretty well. So if you spray it with the oil, that creates the stickiness, and then you could spray your seasoning on, add your seasoning to it. Make sure it's organic.
Should I walk directly after dinner or should I wait 30 minutes?
You can walk. There's no problem. Yeah, get up, move. Now, you're not going to run a race 30 after eating, but if you walk a little bit, that's fine. Because there's 2 types of nervous system in the body. Sympathetic nerves speed you up. Parasympathetic nerves slow you down. So right now I'm in a sympathetic mode. I'm thinking, I'm processing. You're listening. You're in a sympathetic mode. Parasympathetic, sleep, digestion, romance, going to the bathroom. Those are parasympathetic functions. So when you eat, you start shifting into the parasympathetic mode. So as long as you take a nice leisurely walk, that's fine. If you're going to go out and, dig holes, probably not a good idea. What else?
Are vegetables and fruits generally considered good high-fiber foods?
Yes. In fact, you can only get fiber from fruits and vegetables. You can't get fiber from meat and dairy products. So the only place to get fiber is fruits and vegetables. What else? Not juices, though. We got the audience question.
So you said frozen vegetables retain their nutrients. Do frozen fruits retain their nutrients when you freeze them? Like
Yes.
Bagged ones?
Yes. And the reason is when they and this was Clarence Birdseye who came up with this idea. I'll give you a little history here. Clarence Birdseye was in the food industry, and freezers were just coming into fashion. And he was fishing, ice fishing, and he caught a fish and it froze. And he brought it into his cabin, and as it defrosted, it came back alive again. And he had this thought, like, wait a minute. So when you freeze things fast, the nutrients are locked in. Life was locked in. And Clarence Birdseye came up with flash freezing fruits and vegetables. So yes, fruits and vegetables are picked and then frozen right away because that's when they're the freshest. So it isn't even from a nutritional standpoint, it's just from a business standpoint, but in the process, we get the most nutrients out of it. Yeah, good question, though. What else, John? Anybody else? Live audience?
That is all.
Nobody else? Oh, one more.
You said using the microwave, of course, is bad. what is the best way to probably heat up? Is air frying a common myth? Is that a bad way to heat up?
Air frying is okay, but the problem is they coat the air fryers with chemicals to make them non-stick, and that can release chemicals into the food. So really the best way to do it is just on a stove with a stainless steel pot. There you go. Nothing else, John? All right, folks, thanks so much for being here. I do appreciate it. Make sure you follow me on all platforms, Dr. Joe Esposito. Any questions, send it to